Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Hi, all. Hi, everyone. Thanks for getting here to listen what I will say. And Etem, thank you for inviting me here to have a chat with you and Recorded Family. It's a pleasure for me to share some insights I've seen from the recruitment side. Yeah, as you mentioned, I graduated from university. I started work in Turk sales in marketing team, and I was there till 2018. I worked with several teams during that time, mostly in marketing. And after that, I decided to, experience a smaller team, a startup. I wanted to be a bigger part of a smaller team, and Joinify. It's a mobile research startup trying to disrupt the traditional research industry with the help of technology. And during my time there, I had the chance to see the startup ecosystem better. And I realized some problems and opportunities, like I saw that hiring a good developer for a tech company, for a tech startup, firstly, was a very important, and but also a very challenging problem. The methods were old, and they were not working well for both developers and the companies. I mean, I decided to focus on a better match between these two in a more accurate and effortless way. So I started Talent Grid. And for about like 7 months now, we have a developer community around 1,200 people. We have made successful matches for many of the Turkey's growing tech companies. Uh, and also, the most importantly, I guess, we had the chance to have a better understanding of the industry, the hiring processes, what companies look for, what they need, and obviously the developer world. That's why I'm here with you today to share some of them. I believe that especially this could give some guidance for juniors who are seeking to join the professional development world, and I hope so.
Thank you again, Ecem. I really liked Talent Grid when I first come into it, because it's helping both parties to make the process more efficient and create happiness for both sides. Because it's as you said, it's not an easy match all the time. It's not one-way thing. It's not for just only for developers, also organizations. And I think it's a great approach, building community around it and trying to match this interest with each other so everyone will be happy. So as you mentioned, before going my general questions, I would like to ask, because you mentioned this while in the introduction, for first-time job seekers, is it better to work in smaller teams like startups and so on, or is it better to understand these huge processes in corporate world, how it's structured, and you can get a more understanding of established business or more scaled version of things? Which one will be ideal? Of course, there is no white and black here, but what is your idea on this approach?
Yeah. I think the most important thing is that you have to work with a team where you get the chance to work with the newest technologies. The most important thing that is to provide yourself a better version of yourself by experiencing new technologies, new tools, that new methodologies that teams are working on. So I don't think that as you said, there's a black or white, like with a startup and a corporate business. An early scale startup would be a bit challenging for you, because there isn't a grounded, structured system mostly in an early startup, because they are seeking what to build in a very early stage. So I think as an early developer, you have to involve, I think it would be better to involve with a more grounded team. And obviously there should be people that more senior than you, that you have to face face from them. You have to learn from them. I think definitely learning is the most important thing. So it really doesn't matter where or how many people you're working with. If you believe that you can learn a lot with 3 or 4 people, that's enough. But if you want to have a more stable, a more like a more like corner place that you can work and specialize yourself, it is also an option, I think.
Yeah, I see. So it's not more of a like startup versus corporate, but it's like finding ideal teams to learn and more focusing on the new technologies and enhancing the learning opportunities.
Yeah, definitely.
Got you. Yeah. Okay, my question is that what are the initial steps to start a career in software development for a first-time job seeker? How we can get into these ideal teams that we can learn faster, that we can learn better and become financially sustainable while we are doing this?
I think the whole journey. I think the whole journey has 3 phases. I mean, the first one is comes way before the application process. It is the foundations. I mean, the technical skills employers look for in a web developer. What I mean here is that what you have as a developer to offer to a company, you have to build and strengthen these skills, these technical skills, way before the application process. The second one, I think, obviously the application phase. But I mean, if you are confident about your skills and ready to join a team, in this phase, you have to present your profile, your skills. Is really important and can be remarkable if you do it right. After that, the third one is the interview process. I mean, you applied for a position and got an invitation to meet with the team that you applied. This process may differ from one company to another, but the common thing between all of them is they always care how you act and what you say, and this will take you one step further from your opponents. Obviously, I'll give more details in these subjects later on if you would like me to.
Sure, we will go in much more details, but thank you for laying the ground and splitting into phases. I think it's important to see, people usually tend to see it like without these foundations, and like they think that the process is starting with applying to a job, somehow engaging with the employers. So you are emphasizing the foundation is very important, I think, because people, in my personal idea, I'm not expert on this, but what I've seen is it's very important to first focus on the basic, on the foundations.
Yeah.
Then when you have a strong foundation, then you can improve other things in time and get better about them. So could you elaborate this foundation part a little bit more? What kind of technical skills employers are usually looking for a front-end developer? What kind of things need to be on their profiles, portfolios, or CVs? What kind of things they should have?
Yeah, as you said, I think the most important thing is the constant improvement. I know that the improvement would never end, even when you applied for somewhere, even when you started to work somewhere. But getting some level is very, very crucial before the application phase. So, and I'm sure most of you already know and working on the skills that I'm going to mention. But please see me as someone from the recruitment side that encountered many tech companies and worked many roles with them. So I'm talking with the patterns I saw from all these companies. The skills that I'm talking about is obviously the first one is for a web developer, HTML, CSS knowledge. It's very common. It's the most basic. It's the most default one everyone's seeking for. I mean, the commonly changed properties mostly, like padding, margin, display time. I mean, before, after, pseudo selectors, etc. I'm talking about these ones. After this one, a basic and a rough understanding of modern JavaScript would be very important also, like knowing the concepts of array methods or functions, like a basic understanding of JavaScript scopes. I mean, another one, it is a workable knowledge of common, Git commands. I saw that many companies at least want you to know push and pull, branching, like the commonly very used commands. Another thing that I can also think that is the databases, the SQL queries would be very, very big plus, like MySQL, PostgreSQL, or MongoDB, whatever. I mean, how they work, the concept. But all of this, in all of this, the most important one that may stand you out is learning a JavaScript framework, I think, like React or Angular or Vue.js. I can confidently say, like, React is the most popular framework for some time for many companies. It's very popular. With Talent Grid, we already filled like more than 5 React positions, React roles for the past 3 or 4 months. There's a very high demand for that. So I think if you learned React in the beginning of your career, but I'm saying as a person that is at the time, at the current time, but I think it will definitely broaden your target companies and your choices.
I'm really glad that you mentioned like Git here and React in specific, because the students who are from our bootcamp, of course they know, but for the maybe people joining from outside,
Great.
We are starting with the Git commands, because I cannot imagine a modern software company working without a kind of a version control system. Either it's Git or something else, but they have version control systems 100% if you are working for a modern company. I think that's really important as well. And we are also teaching React.js, so I'm glad that you're mentioning this to the to the point.
Then I put my finger on a very important thing.
Yeah. What about the SQL and databases? Of course, students get somehow introduced to these kind of things. They use some solutions like Firebase and so on, which is easier to build as a backend, so on. How much familiarity do they need? Is just kind of a general exposure, or they need to somehow engage with these databases and so on? How much it is necessary for a front-end developer?
I think it's not, of course, they don't expect you as a junior, especially as a junior developer, they don't expect you to, have some expertise on these. But I'm also not a technical person, actually. I have an engineering background, but I'm not a, software developer. I'm just saying, I'm just passing what I see in the market. So I saw that SQL is very, very, differentiating. And also, if you're working with JavaScript, most companies these days use, as a database, MongoDB. It's very popular. I think what you need is to have some familiarity about these. How they interact with each other, with the language that you use, with the commands, how they talk to each other. I mean, they don't expect you to be an expertise, of course, but you have to know the concepts of these things. When I say that we have a tech stack and we use MongoDB as database, you have to understand what they're talking about. I mean, you have to specify that, MongoDB from the others. What differs it from the others? What makes a database helps with your product development process? I mean, the basic concepts, especially.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I agree. It could be an important differentiating point to become familiar with this concept, at least able to do basic things and when you can understand at least what's going on, if someone talking from backend team or other teams regarding databases, etc., when you at least capture what's going there theoretically, I think it's a big plus as a developer. Yeah. So you mentioned about the application phase as well. So could you walk us through about the application phase as well, and what are the absolute essentials there? What are the very important parts of it?
I think when you feel like when you have the when you feel like you have the necessary skills, and when you feel like you're ready to join a team as a developer, you feel like you jump into the game. I mean, the application process may sometimes be tiring for you if you don't know what you are missing. So not to waste time and not to waste your energy, you should do it right. I think the most important thing is a strong online presence before starting to, the application process. And when you completed all this, knowing where to apply, what channels you want to use, what channels would be more effective, are very crucial to save time and I think energy on this matter. So the first one, obviously, it's a pre-application phase. I think strong online presence, and the second one is knowing where to apply.
Well, GitHub use is very important, I guess. I talk it very straight. I think it's one of the first places people look at, and they can see your code, everything there. It's not like other social medias or having a blog post. It's real work. And I think most of the technical people start asking with GitHub, and I think they want to see frequent users, right? They want to see that you are consistently contributing for something, you are doing things for open source, you're somehow helpful for the community. What are the things that they could make better on using GitHub while using GitHub? And what other things, like how LinkedIn stands there? What about portfolio website? Resumes are not popular anymore, but they are still essential part of the thing. Yeah. So what do you think about these kind of things to be present as online presence for online presence?
Yeah, as you mentioned, GitHub is a very, very big plus, I think. An employer is likely to look at the nature and size of the contributions you make, especially relative to the size of the project. They'll examine the technical sophistication, the way that the changes are made, and how you communicate to other contributors. This also, beside the technical aspect they give, this also gives a feel for your communication skills and sometimes the leadership ability. It's very, very important than you think, than you imagine. So I think a GitHub profile, an active GitHub profile, is as much as important as a LinkedIn profile. And I mean, obviously the bigger, when you look at the bigger picture, a strong online profile is where you show your skills in a clean and to the point manner. As you mentioned, the LinkedIn profile, like, it must be fully complete. The idea is like to create a LinkedIn profile that will show up when recruiters and employers that are looking for a job candidate that match a certain skill. You have to add your skills and get endorsement from your coworkers, your classmates, or your bootcamp instructor maybe. LinkedIn uses this section to determine what you are highly skilled of, which factors into how often your profile shows up in recruiters' search results. So obviously only add skills that you feel comfortable discussing with potential employers or recruiters. If you have heard of something new but never used it, please do not add it to your profile, because it will be a really fraud. When you connect to somebody you go to school with or have worked with, or who can otherwise work for professionally, give them an endorsement on their skills. You will always, almost always, receive an endorsement in return. Another thing is that you have to add your past work or internship experiences with the projects you completed during the time. What tech stack you used, the skills you polished during that project. This will demonstrate your experience way more solid than just writing an internship. I just writing an intern at X company. Uh, Another thing that you mentioned, portfolio, I think it's very important. You have to demonstrate your work on a portfolio website, and you have to put that website on your LinkedIn page. You should almost certainly have a website and show it there so that employers can see your work when they view your LinkedIn page. It is also very important. Um, GitHub, I mentioned about it. Another thing that you mentioned is a resume. Yes, resumes are kind of outdated right now, but you should definitely have one because some companies still very care about it because you personally prepare it, not like a LinkedIn profile or something. So it must definitely be easy to read. You know, there are many online resume building websites that you can use, and you can create your own resume easily. If it's possible, it should not exceed 1 or maximum 2 pages. You should, the point of a resume we should emphasize your core technical skills and proficiency on them. The projects you use your skills are the indicators and validation of your experience. I mean, showing your project you used, your skills will be a really validated and a proven, a proven qualification. So yeah, a resume is still needed, and you have to prepare it in a sleek way.
I have a questions about resumes. Some of our students, we know that it's a common fact that has to be short and sweet. And many people are talking like CV should be a one-pager now. But sometimes students are struggling to what to put, what not to put. Would it be okay if it's longer than one page? Is it really so important? Because I know that recruiters seeing a lot of CVs, and I'm not familiar with the psychology or their perspective very well, but it's really important that it's under one page, or if the experience or the education is really somehow linked to this position, is it okay to put there?
It's, of course, it's not a requirement to have a one pager. If you want to, you know, add some more information, you can do a 2-page. You can prepare a 2-page resume. It's not forbidden, of course, but as an you know, from my point of view, I've never seen a recruiter or someone or a technical manager to read whole resume at first, you know, at first scene. They never do it. They just skim it. They just look what skills you wrote there and what in which projects you use your skills. You have to demonstrate and show them. You have to emphasize them. You do not. I think you shouldn't write everything you did because they don't read them. They just lost during trying to read them, trying to navigate themselves in these, you know, information you gave. So you have to be precise about what you want to say about yourself, what skills you have, you want to, you know, try to more focus on. So I think it should be less than 2 pages, yes. But of course, you can write anything you want, as much as you want, but I don't think they would read it.
Okay, thank you. That was very honest, and we try to do it to the point most of the time, but this is coming up too much, so I wanted to ask. Maybe some of the students were going to ask, because I asked them to, could you ask this to Ecem as well? You know, my opinion is this, but let's ask to Ecem as well. So I just wanted to bring it. So as we are coming to the 30 minutes, really, we have a lot of things to still discuss and a little bit behind it. I want to shortly ask about which channels are ideal to apply and how having a community or network affecting to get a job. And then I will just shortly want to dive into interview process, I think, which is very important.
It's the most important one, yeah, I think.
Yeah. Okay, then please adjust it in your own way. Let's take a little bit time from the questions time, but we have also questions piling up. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think in Turkey, companies mostly use LinkedIn, of course. I mean, for the job posts, if you want to, apply a job post, you have to check first LinkedIn. AngelCo is also, used by startups, a lot of startups. It's not as common as a LinkedIn, but it's still a dedicated platform, especially for startups hiring. And of course, Talent Grid is an effective way to get matched with a position based on your skills and preferences. But besides these channels, I think there are many communities these days that gather around a common interest, such as Frontend Istanbul, Code Fiction, GDG Istanbul, something. Well before the corona, they were usually having meetups, get together and chat. And these networking events, occasions can create opportunities to meet someone that from a target company, and you never know. I know some developers got offers such way. These communities also have their own Slack channels, Slack groups. They talk mostly in Turkish in those, so I'm not sure if that can help you if you don't know Turkish. But there are some career channels in these groups that are used for job postings specifically. And those posts are mostly in English, so following them may be beneficial, I think. And also I want to mention about something that I also think very, very useful. Applying for an open position via a job post is an active way of the application phase. But you can also use some proactive approach. I mean, for example, you have some target companies. You would love to be a part of their development team. But there's no currently open job. So you can add their CTO or co-founder on LinkedIn and send a message, introducing yourself and why you would be a good hire for their company, what you can offer them, what motivates you to be a part of the team. If you really grab their attention with that message, I think they may definitely consider you. This would be a very, very effective proactive approach. But of course, I'm not talking about spamming. I'm really talking about the, a more focused, more targeted way of doing this, a more efficient way of doing this. Also, I think
this is really important advice. Sorry, Ecem. I think this is very important, being proactive rather than reactive with the job hunting. And I would definitely recommend as well, like connecting with people. But as Ecem said, it's not like spamming. You need to build a relationship there, and your intention should be genuine. Otherwise, this wouldn't work at all.
Yeah.
So don't think like sending.
Yeah, you have to customize your communication style, your dialogue. You had to put yourself in.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I think interview process is also very important. We did the proactive approach, somehow connected with people. We have a good community. We have prepared our foundations. We have everything ready. We built our online presence. Then we go through a process with different companies probably in this period. So what are these processes look like? What are the steps? What are the general rules to follow here? What are important things? Could you walk us through about this place? I think there is a little bit, we can understand the other processes more or less from outside, but interview process is kind of a little bit more like art that you get experience in time, and you need to understand different things. So it will be very nice if you could share your tips and tricks for this part.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. It's, it's something that you get better every day, and after every interview you had. Every company has their own way of, assessment process. I saw very different cases throughout. Many companies use, technical cases or code challenges to understand the candidate's way of thinking for real problems. This is mostly sent before the interview. And during the interview, you are assessed based on the outcome of the case or challenge. They mostly question how you think it through. I mean, how you approach the problem, what matters for you while, solving it, or whether you have a testing principle or not, kind of stuff. A company we are working with, just recently gave a negative feedback on a case of a candidate that he did not test his solution or code. It was very, very, surprising for me, because I thought that it was, an essential, but you may skip these things, and you shouldn't. You definitely shouldn't. Some companies send algorithm tests. These tests are not to assess your coding skills, but the capability of setting up an algorithm, a way of solution for a specific problem, in a specified time. The technical interviews is the common is the most basic. Every company does that. Every company does a technical interview. This may differ from one company to another as the company's choice of technique. Some goes over a case or a code challenge, as I mentioned, but some goes free form, like challenge you with technical questions or some concepts. So this may really, really differ from company to company. But it aims to assess your technical skills, your know-how on development, your proficiency of programming languages on whatever role you are interviewed for, your way of thinking on solving problems. This is basically the technical interview. And besides this, you know, another really important part of these interviews are the cultural interviews. A cultural interview wants you to know you better, to understand if you're a good fit for the team as a person. This also may depend on what cultural values a company owns, but generally you are assessed if you are a team member, if you're open to feedbacks, whether you are a hardworking person or a last minute person, your motivations, your enthusiasm to be a part of their team, your strengths, not technically, but as a person, your weaknesses to be improved, maybe. These all together give an idea on whether you are a good match for that company. Many companies do both, by the way, and mostly during the same session.
Yeah, sometimes it's combined while you are being interviewed for something else, and other people or same people looking for other skills, so should be coherent somehow.
True, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, are there, of course, it depends on the organization's culture and so on, but are there general things that candidates will be generally careful about it, or at least moderate about it, like clothes wearing or other things that, like the essential, like being there on time, and what other things are absolutely essential rules, let's say?
What you just said, like don't be late to the interview, is the most essential thing. I think it's the most important thing, because this says a lot about you. I mean, how much you are motivated, how much you're enthusiastic about or excited about this role, or whether you are a punctual person or not. So the number one rule is don't be late, never. I think looking motivated, showing your excitement in a bit, for the company and role is also very important. This it's as important as your technical skills, because this may take you a step further than the same level of the opponents you have. I've been getting a lot of feedbacks from the companies about these these kind of things after the interviews, about the enthusiasm of the candidates. So I think it's very important. Always do a search of the company before having the interview. What they do, their primary industry, their websites, the apps they use. I mean, you have to check on these before meeting them. Haven't looked on them, and having an idea before the meeting is a big must. It's not a nice to have, it's a must. It would be a very big plus if you have some suggestions on the website or apps also. If you would, if you contribute like what you liked or didn't like about them, it would be very personal. It would be very, very, very big plus. Asking them right questions also would be very nice. Asking about asking them about the team, about the roles, what tech stack they use, if they haven't already mentioned about it, how they develop, the product, their product, what methods they use, what principles they have. Asking me questions is worse, I think. Like, how many days of vacation will I have, or how much salary I'll get? These questions don't belong during the interview process. They belong to the offer part. In your interview, you are aiming to get the offer first. You can negotiate on the terms during the offer, not during the interview phase. And I think asking the deadline before closing the interview, the deadline from hearing them from them to for the remaining process would be very nice. When will you get to know me about the process? When will they let you know about the result of the interview? So that you won't be getting anxious waiting for them to mail. It will be very, way relaxing for you. I think it's a good thing that you ask it and learn.
Yeah, great advice. I really definitely agree on like making a research on the company. This is really valuable because you understand their business model, their products, which shows that you studied your lesson and you are interested in them. Otherwise, they can easily understand that you are seeing them as another door. You don't see it as a kind of a way that is an important part in your career or something. You treat them like another company, and I think they don't like it at all.
Yeah, they want every company wants to be special for every company thinks that they do the best, they are the best, they are getting bigger, and the biggest they will be. So getting along with their ego is always a big plus.
Yeah, I agree. And you should also find a place that suits you. So you need to do your research anyways, because you need to understand what they produce, how they work. This is a way to understand their culture and other things as well. So you can see if this organization is a fit for my aspire and so on. So I think it's anyways very useful to use. I have a lot of questions really, Ecem, more. And when you talk about it, I have more questions, but I want to switch to student questions. If we able to get through all of them, maybe we can come back and maybe we can talk a little bit how Talent Grid is providing values. You first mentioned how you work and what kind of processes you are bringing, what kind of community you are building, but I want to go a little bit deeper on that part as well, how it's different from the conventional part, but I would like to first take the students' questions. So I would like to start with Bader's question. He asked us, what are the most used frameworks in Turkey?
I don't know what are the most used ones, but I know, as I mentioned earlier, React is really the most popular one, I think. As I'm not a developer, I can't tell the difference between the Angular and the React, but I saw that, when I open LinkedIn, when I open the job posts, I see like millions of React developers, React native developers. React is very popular, so I suggest you to learn React some. Angular is also it's also commonly used, but if you learned one of them, I think it would be React.
My question here, I'd like to add my question here, Ecem. Do you think that it's really essential that you learned some specific framework, or a framework and you are like willing to open to learn any other frameworks? Is it okay in that way?
Of course, okay, but mostly companies want some specific person to write a framework. They usually say like a front-end, they look for a front-end developer, but when you look at the information they give, the description, you see that they want some specific framework, mostly at least a 1 or 2 year hands-on experience on them. it differs from the from company to company. Some companies really think that having a solid JavaScript background is more important than having a experience on a specific framework. But some of them really want you to know the specific framework they are using, because they don't want, they want you to jump into the product right now, right away. They don't want to waste time by waiting for you to learn the new framework that you haven't already know. So yeah, it differs from where you are applying. Some think that way, some really believes that frameworks are very essential because they are seeking these kind of people.
Yeah, I see. So it really depends on the need and the urgency for the organization. And I see that most of the organizations are like very short on time nowadays. They probably need you to know already. Yeah. Okay.
Sadly,
so I'm going. Thank you, Ecem. I'm going to move on to Recep's question, which is like he's telling that in Clamp project we are using Git very well, GitHub, GitLab, CSS, HTML, and React. We are able to produce a well-static website. I really wonder our level. Are we junior or more, or what?
I'm really sorry, but I am not the expert to say if you are a highly skilled developer or not, or you are a junior or senior. I can, it will be unfair your skills, I think it looks very good that you can do these, you can use GitHub, GitLab, these are the basic essentials, and you definitely should know. But I can't say if you're a junior or what,
Yeah.
I shouldn't.
My personal say would be here. This is a long way. This is a long journey. So it really goes deep. So there's still a lot of way to walk.
There's always room for improvement. So definitely I agree with you. This is the beginning, just the beginning. These are the defaults that you should have.
So Aydın is asking for a foreign first time seeking for a job, or for a foreign student, where they should start, or how they should search for a job position.
I actually mentioned about it earlier, but LinkedIn definitely, because the biggest traffic is going on there. Every company use it. LinkedIn is definitely for number one. The second one is you can try AngelCo. In Turkey, these are the biggest websites that you can use to actively apply for a job, I think.
I've been asking for this, just to clarify, for a foreign person. So I know you mentioned this, but do you think they need to do something else as a foreign person, like filtering something?
Every job, almost every job posting on LinkedIn is in English. So I don't think that will cause a problem. Every company, when they look for a developer, they always use English, languages because of the technical things that they write. The technical aspects, they use the language. So I think that won't be a problem.
Okay, thank you. And if just in case, also I agree with Ecem, but if you need any help on with the legal things, with work permit, etc., you can always come to me and ask if you have any these kind of questions rather than the job hunting part. So Elif is asking, when we see the job post, even for junior or beginner positions, employers are asking at least 2 years of experience. Is this expectation realistic or not? What is the best way to apply for a job without full-time work experience? So we are getting back to this first experienced, unexperienced job searching thing.
I think I agree with that. You know, when you look at the job descriptions, job posting descriptions, what the requirements are really very harsh. Most of them, they really, I think they really overrated. They want, if you really look at that, and you even like 5 or 6 year experienced developer could feel, you know, less skilled than he is, because they want you to know everything. Please don't, I don't think that they really show you the real expectations on those job posting descriptions. They are, they kind of want you to show their tech stack mostly. They want you to say that we use this one, we use that one, we also use this one. It would be very nice if you know this one. I mean, it's kind of overdoing, it's kind of overrating. Don't limit yourself by everything they write on those job, you know, descriptions. um, if they really want, you know, most of the job positions for, you know, junior or mid-level positions, if they're not really specifically specified that we need to have you at least 3 years or more Java experience, you can assume that it's a broader pool, and you can definitely have a chance. I don't think that you should click on that everything they write during those descriptions.
So I usually tell them that to not hold back yourself, even
Yeah.
though you think you are not qualified. Because as for the junior developers, or if it's their first time, I've seen that people get discouraged with these things they're asking for and they don't apply. So is it good advice to go ahead and apply and try to talk
Yeah.
about yourself at least, right?
Don't hold back,
Good
because
to
I
know.
mean, as I said, they really overdo it when they're trying to, you know, show some, when they're trying really they just want you to show their tech stack mostly. They don't show you who they are looking for. They just want you to show that we are using these very new technologies. So they write everything they use.
Yeah, this is a little bit annoying, but this is what it is. So don't be discouraged with it. Go ahead. So Mehmet is asking, how about the past work experience? If they're irrelevant to software development, should we keep them on resume or replace it with projects?
I think you shouldn't. They really don't really do. Most companies, they don't care about your other work experiences, rather than if you're applying for a software development job. I don't think they will, you know, do good. They would put an extra credit for you during the elimination process, because they will ask you about your software development skills uh, and your experiences. Others are, I don't think they're relevant.
There is a specific scenario that I want to ask. This is a little bit of a detail, but let's say if that person is applying for a job in a startup and that startup is working on education field, although he's a kind of a junior front-end developer, but he has an extensive knowledge on education and so on, it's good to put on, right? Because
That's
they
true.
may want
I'm
to.
sorry, but you're definitely right. If it's relevant, really, if you think that's relevant, that you can add up to your story, how that your motivation to work with them, if it really adds something on, yes, you should. Yes, you should. That's an exception, I think.
Yeah. So it depends on, maybe if you can provide a leverage that the company could use, then it's good to put. But otherwise, if it's relevant, if you are not providing any value to the company, then it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it will be just,
Okay,
crowd.
gotcha. Okay. So I will be going to Emre's question, which is quite long. I will go ahead and read. He has been wondering what kind of path would be better to walk down as to looking for a job as an inexperienced but passionate prospects like them. Having knowledge over specific technologies to some point in their arsenal is a must, but good opportunities of taking part in companies that will improve them probably won't stop by accidentally, right? He's asking. So he was wondering how much time they should at least need to invest on the search while not taking a big impact to their study and learning processes.
Wow, it's really long. I really, you lost me
You
during
got, you,
during between the,
so
the sentences.
he's basically asking that should I search for companies more and look for a lot of companies to find the ideal place, or should I sit and study, do my projects, get better, improve my skills? Which one? How should I prioritize my time?
No, 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 definitely you should improve yourself. The most important thing that you have to polish your skills, not, waste your time during, research of the companies or so. The job hunting process is, I know it's a bit long then, and it's a bit tiring process, but if you if you really believe that you are ready to, apply a company, apply a job post, it's okay to invest some time, but always if you have enough, not if you don't have enough time, you should invest in it, in yourself. I mean, if you really put yourself on, put your online presence on LinkedIn, on GitHub, they will come to you. If they are fully completed, recruiters and companies will come to you. You don't have to search for them.
Thank you, Ecem. My humble advice will be build your product first, which is yourself, then go for marketing or advertising.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be not so valuable, even though they are attracted to you. Mehmet is asking about internships, and it's a kind of a way to get into the business and get experience. But in Turkey, most internships, almost all of them for university students, and they don't accept others. So he's asking how they could eliminate this blocker.
Oh, okay. I think the proactive way I talked about earlier is a very good way of doing that. If you really want to show that you are enthusiastic and motivated to work with some, a specific company, you have to find some, that in that part. They will definitely, they won't ignore you, but if they are, if, I don't know, if they put some requirements like a university student, it is hard to pass. I know you have to work your way through it. So a proactive way would be a better choice, I think. You have to show yourself, you have to show that you want to work with them, that you are capable of doing what they really would seek. So you have to work with them. Yeah,
I totally agree. I think sometimes if you have this kind of blockers, you should build your own network, and you should be demanded, not in the regular way, but you should create your own demand.
true.
So that you don't need to follow the other things. So this might be a good way. I agree totally. And Mehmet is asking also, I'm not able to understand this very well, really. Just give me a second. Okay, other thing as to internship, is that work during the Corona period, since you have to work remotely, and interns are learning on site usually, so they work more closely normal times.
Yeah.
And do you think it's still efficient online?
I think yes, of course, always. The world is changing right now. We are seeing we are seeing with our own eyes right now with the Corona period. Maybe 1 year later, most of the companies won't even have an office space. So you have to, be able to learn from them in a distant way. You have to do that. So I don't think it will waste time. It will that you definitely have to take your chance and be a part of the team, because even if you're distant, We are distant here, like a lot of people, and we are sharing our experiences. So I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there were a lot of remote companies already, 100% remote companies, and there will be more after this.
True.
So I think it's better to start anywhere, online, offline, anywhere. So Khan is like asking, is it a big lack of not having computer science degree to be accepted to work as a developer?
No, I really don't think so. There are many companies that don't care about your degree. Then I also personally know a lot of developers that self-educated themselves and improved themselves like better than the ones they had some degree. It's all about you. It's all about the resources you reach. The whole world is on your, fingerprints on your computer, so you can reach anything. You are having your boot camps online right now. I mean, these are very, incredible resources. You don't have to have a regular formatted education, a degree to do what you really want to do. I don't think it's really necessary, and I don't see it in the market right now.
Awesome, great. Thank you, Ecem. I really appreciate that you said this, because this might be discouraging for some of our students as well, and I see it in the ecosystem as well. And I've seen a lot of people also self-taught and quite quite successful at their job as a software developer. So we are exactly on time right now. But if you have 5 minutes, if it's okay for everyone, I would like to understand how talent grid is different than the conventional way, because I think it's important for our students and for our audience to understand this. Getting a job is a kind of a long-term game. It's not a short-term game. It's something that you build through time. It's not one-time thing. So I know that Talent Grid's approach is different than conventional companies. So could you walk us a little bit through how you provide that value?
Yeah, Tam, as you said, Talent Grid is kind of aiming to match both companies and developer offerings and expectations. I mean, as a principle, we are not only serving for the companies to help them hire the right developer for their team. We also help the developers find a team they aspire. I mean, as we stand in the middle way, I think we differ from the traditional HR consulting companies that sees the hiring process as selection and placement someone for the company. Not matching both sides. We are trying to match both sides. Talent Grid has its own developer community with more than 1,200 people, developers. When you join Talent Grid, you enter your technical skills. You such as which programming languages how skilled you are at these, and what methodologies you work with before, such as this. And after that, you give your expectations on a position or a company to get matched, like such as maybe remote working is very important for you, or you have some selections by the locations of the company. Maybe you have some tech stack preferences. Maybe you have a minimum salary type of information. These informations are very important for us because we aim to have a better match for you in a very long period, maybe, right? Not just right now, not very immediately, but 1 or 2 years from now. I don't know. When you give your expectation on a position or company, I mean, we try to match you with a company that they reach us with a soft developer role they want to fill. Firstly, we understand their need and what they offer to the candidate, and then crawl to that database to get a match. And when we find a match, we inform the candidate first, definitely, and send about the details. And if they opt in, I mean, to meet the company, we introduce him or her. I mean, I must say it again, we are not a platform that you find the job instantly if you're actively looking, but we are more likely to give you a service whenever there's a match with your profile and your preferences. I mean, by the way, we are also developing our product right now. I think it will be live in like 2 months or so. Developers will have their own profile pages, so that they will be able to update their information and preferences easily. They can track their matches and give responses to them. So I'll definitely want you to let you know when our product is alive.
Thank you very much, Ecem. I know that it will be perfect, and I know the methodology you use. Actually, we use similar methodology in Recode as well to match our students and graduates with the potential companies, to keep them on track with learning very fast and just to expect the meet the expectations. So I'm a big believer of your model, and I really appreciate that you build a community around developers, which is providing these opportunities to them. Thank you for being here, Ecem, and sparing your time. Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure for me. Really, I had a really nice time. Thank you for inviting me.
Likewise, Ecem. Thank you very much. Maybe we can do other sessions in the coming weeks for, I don't know, for either specific boot camps or other topics. Let's see how it works. So I would like to announce our next speaker. Awesome, thank you. So I want to wrap up very shortly. I know that maybe some of our audience is waiting for the iftar. So our next speaker will be Enis Hulli on Wednesday at the same time at 7 p.m. This is part of the Tech Accelerator program, and 500 Startup is a big venture capital firm around the globe, which is Silicon Valley based. And Enis is the general partner of 500 Startup Istanbul. And I would like you to fill out our survey, which Daria is going to be posting in the chat. This is really important for us because we want to have your feedback so we can improve these sessions and could be more helpful for everyone in the community. So please spare 1 or 2 minutes to fill out our survey. It should be, yeah, there I just shared. So thank you very much to everyone being here. I hope you enjoyed, you learned. If you need any further help or have any questions, please leave them on social media, or if you're able to reach me directly from Slack. So feel free to ask further questions about employment. Thank you again to everyone being here tonight. Take good care until the next session. Bye.
Thank you.